All right, how's it going, beautiful people of Facebook and soon to be YouTube? This is Jose Trujillo, world's greatest living artist, coming to you from the art studio. I started doing this painting because I've noticed that I need to do some work. So I'm going to kill two birds with the same stone today. Today it's supposed to be Art Marketing Tuesday. Those of you who haven't checked me out on Tuesdays, I do art marketing. Come hang out with me while I do some painting. So if you guys have any questions ready, please post them. I don't know if I can read the questions right now, just because I got a new phone and I haven't figured that out right yet. But I will get back to you guys if the questions, if I for any reason I can't read the questions. I hope I can this time. But if you guys have any art marketing questions, please post them on the wall, and I will get to them as soon as possible. So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about viral marketing and what does it mean. I know a lot of people talk about that. A lot of people like to talk about viral marketing and the whole idea of doing something and then it catching on and working wonders for your message, for your marketing message, your sales message. There's a lot of talk about that in social groups. There's a lot of talk about do things right and your artwork or your marketing is going to catch up and it's going to go to the roof. And there's a lot of talk about that kind of stuff, but it always kind of intrigues me because just a second, guys, okay? I'm going to flip this really quick. I hope no one gets a headache. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to read the messages. I guess, oh, there we go. How's it going, Patty? Thank you so much. Sorry about the shakiness of the camera, of the phone here. I just wanted to get this thing going. So I wanted to touch on today's Art Marketing Tuesday. I want to touch on the whole idea of marketing, viral marketing, and how many artists talk about art marketing, about viral marketing. Many artists tend to, not just artists, right? But they tend to think that if you do something, some clever thing, your stuff is just going to catch like wildfire, and riches and power is going to come to you. But I just wanted to tell you guys that's not true. I don't just say that. A lot of entrepreneurs and people in that area talk about that and how first of all how super expensive it is to do anything like that, any sort of viral marketing. It's extremely expensive first, and the ones that are not expensive that just kind of catch and become viral happen to be almost, not almost, it's like this shot of luck. And I'm not one to hope and wish for things to happen for me. I don't like that approach. I did that when I was younger, and nothing ever happened to me unless I was doing something. So I just wanted to touch on that, guys. Does anyone have a question on art marketing or anything related? It doesn't have to be related to viral marketing. Of course, I just wanted to open up with that. But I just think that it's sold to us many times. It's sold to us that if we get something viral going on, it's gonna propel our. For example, here's one thing. It might not just be viral. It could be like, oh, if I just send my paintings to Oprah, one of my paintings to Oprah, it's gonna change my life. Maybe one in a million, maybe I don't know, but it doesn't have enough momentum to sustain. Even if you make it to Oprah's list of stuff that she likes to recommend. I don't know if she's still doing that. She's doing that in books. She's still doing the books. I know that, but even if you land one of those things, or if no one thing is going to work. Is what I'm trying to say, guys. I think that it's extremely important to talk about that because there's a lot of information out there that suggests that if you just do one thing, somehow it's going to propel your art career, your business, somehow you're going to just magically become this, wanted artist. Every gallery is going to want you. Everyone is going to, and maybe it's worked for some people. I don't know. I've never heard of anyone that has actually worked. I've heard of people who got connected with for example, in the 80s that happened a lot. You get connected with a lot. I think that a lot of that stuff comes from that mentality, there was a lot of money coming in the 80s, in the market, especially in the art market, of course, because a lot of Wall Street guys were playing with that market for God knows what reason, and so there was a lot of money coming in for new artists, and especially if you were an expressionist artist, right? A lot of you guys know about that. The expressionist artists made a big leap in the art market, and one of the things it never sat well with me. It just never made any sense that one thing was going to work. It did it very early on, but as I started getting older, I started realizing that this doesn't sit well anymore. It just maybe I shouldn't use never, because at some point I did believe that. But I started noticing that a lot of these artists, it's sort of like very athletes, right? Very famous athletes. Some of them make it and they become very famous, and others make the team, right? Let's talk about, I don't know, any sport, soccer, football, any sport. But it's estimated that after they leave the team, they suffer a lot from deals, and their income, goes down substantially, really bad. And not just because they're not playing, of course, anymore, but because it wasn't enough to sustain, right? It wasn't enough to sustain that lifestyle. It wasn't enough to sustain, unless they became, Michael Jordan or one of the big ones, then they go on to continue to get deals by Nike with Nike and all those guys, So, no, not trees. Trees. It has to be trees, Bill. I'll change it up. I'll do something else. I'll do what do they call it? I'll do a random. I'm gonna do a little spin wheel, and I'm gonna put Mondays trees, Wednesdays still lives, blah blah blah. What do they call them? Wildlife or animals, and then portraits. So yeah, it's one of those things that has to do with recognizing that there's no one thing. There's no one thing. It's not going to be that one shot, in marketing. There has to be multiple. There has to be multiple approaches. There has to be different approaches. It has to be, like Jeff Koons said, the problem is that we're not aggressive enough. That really is the problem. It's not one or another thing. It's really that there's not enough. And I know, again, this is not a popular, this is not a popular theme, but there's not enough aggression towards our marketing efforts. I love that, Bill. I know. So if you guys have any questions regarding art marketing and stuff like that, of course I don't know. I don't know everything, but I'm open to share some of the stuff that I've learned over the years. It's not theory, so I guess anyone can open a book on marketing and just, it really is in theory. it's a lot of hands-on. That's really where you learn a lot of the marketing stuff. A lot of the theoretical stuff is true to a certain degree, but where it gets a little hairy is when you have to figure out the kinks. There's a lot of kinks, and you have to kind of figure them out. And those you don't books don't really tell you those kinks. Books don't really tell you. For example, people say use Facebook, right? Or use Instagram, or use whatever platform, and most people are like, you have to do it right, you have to do it perfect, it has to be beautiful. They don't use those words, but essentially what they're saying is that it has to be very high quality, great photography, great audio. A lot of people talk about audio. The audio has to be perfect, the visuals have to be perfect, and on and on and on and on and on. And the reality is that it's not true. And I'm not just saying this, just about every marketing guru that is walking the walk. You guys can check out any of those guys, whoever you like. I don't know, there's plenty, but there's some that are actually walking the walk. And they all talk to you about, yes, you want to be different. Yes, you want all of that stuff. But most importantly, you want to continue to shoot. One of my mentors called it, if you're trying to get your message out there, it's like trying to fill the Grand Canyon with rocks. So what do you want? Big rocks, little rocks? What is it? Perfect rocks? No, you want to be throwing rocks constantly. You want to feel it up, because what it is that it's a loud world. This is one of the things that we don't understand, and it's becoming more and more difficult to get the message across. And a lot of people don't understand this unless marketing is your jam. Back in the 50s, you only had, so many channels on TV. You only had so many radio stations, And if you came out on the radio, it was a home run many times, and especially in your town, it was definitely a home run. If you came out on TV, oh man, I mean, the Ed Sullivan Show or any of those shows, it was a home run. Nowadays, it doesn't happen that way. There's so many channels. There's so much noise online. I mean, it's just so noisy that the way to stand out, a lot of people are still stuck in being different. It does work, but it's not the salvation anymore. It used to be the salvation in the 70s and even 80s. Nowadays, it's frequency. And people don't understand that. A lot of people don't understand that. And the reason I'm sharing this is because I know some artists really care about this stuff. Really, really care about this stuff. And the reason also it's not a favorable or a sexy, I'm gonna call it sexy for the lack of a better word, thing to do, right? It's because no one wants to appear as a spammer, And of course you don't want to appear as a spammer. You want to be sharing valuable content, right? But at the same time, you could have the best content in the world, and if you're not constantly sharing it, nobody will ever know that you have great. You can't just share it once, You can't just share it twice. You can't just open something on YouTube and be like, oh, I'm going to post this great video, and you get 100,000 likes, right? Views, but 3 followers. Or, I don't know, or, 1,000 followers, let's say, for the sake of the argument. And then you just don't do anything till you get another great video, another great shot, While someone who may have a really bad audio or really bad video and a good message, a good message. Maybe they're talking about artwork. They're talking about they visit museums and they do ratings on the museums or the local galleries they like. And there's all sorts of ways to go about this. Or the best art that they from certain museums. They talk about the Phillips collection. They talk about it, blah, 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 and what they like and what they don't like and blah, blah. But they're doing it from their basement, or they're doing it from their art studio like I am here. And if they just constantly shoot, they have much greater chances, and I'm talking about much, much greater chances of start getting for people to know you, as opposed to something great, some great content. Now, if the content is great and you constantly shoot, right? Now you have the Holy Grail. That's awesome, Nikki or Keith. That's really what it comes down to. It comes down to you have to figure out a way. It's not rocket science. You just have to figure out a way, and it only happens by doing. It won't happen because you sat there and you started maybe figuring out a way. It's not the right word choices. You have to start doing it. You just have to start doing it. It's the reason, again, why it's not sexy is because it's such heavy donkey work in the beginning. It's such a heavy donkey work. You know, it's like you have another job. Now my job is to create paintings, and the amount of videos and stuff that I shoot out a day on social media, it's like I have a whole other job. You know, so that's why it's not, you know, when we hear about this stuff, you're like, oh man, you're crazy. No, I'd rather get an art agent or this or that. No one is going to do it for you. Please understand that, artists. No one will do it for you. No one will do it. No one will put and if they do it, it's going to be extremely expensive, and they're not going to do it as hard as you. See, because we don't understand sweat equity. This is one of the things that I've learned in the past 3 years. This is probably the most important thing that I've ever learned. Sweat equity is the most valuable and resource you got. The most valuable resource, of course, is time, right? Time. We all love time because it's perceived as this thing that it's lack, right? And it sure is, but it isn't at the same time. I don't know if I make any sense. There is this time thing, but because you're this time restrainer, however you want to phrase that. There is, but many times it's because we don't, you know, we sit on things. So let's say that today you wanted to talk about your artwork on YouTube, or you wanted to talk about, I don't know, you wanted to talk to a gallery owner or a museum or this or that. Maybe you give little tours. Maybe locally. I'm not talking about the Met, right? Maybe locally. But you start talking to people, right? Then they start finding out what you do, because you talk to them a little bit about what you do. Start finding out about what you do. Now remember, 90% has to be nothing about you. It has to be about providing a service. 10% at most, I would even say 5%, would have to be about your artwork and yourself. But 90% for sure has to be about providing a service. Otherwise, people won't listen to you. Most people don't. There's so many artists saying, "Please look at me. Please look at me." You know, who do I choose? Who are you going to choose? If you're in sales and you sell cars, who are you going to choose? You're going to choose the guy who's like, "Come and buy a car. Come and buy the car," or you're going to choose the guy who's like, "Oh, by the way, we do free tire rotation today. Come by. Don't worry about buying the car. Come for the free tire rotation." You know, it's very simple. It's service. It's a service oriented. It will always be that way. We follow service. And I don't want to make this too boring, but it is Art Marketing Tuesday. So that's pretty much the way it is, guys. And if there is no one way, I'm just pointing out the fact that, you know, no one's going to do it for you. No one's going to do it for you. You got to do it yourself. And it's not attractive. That's the word I was looking for, not sexy, attractive. It's not an attractive thing because it comes down to you. Patty says, I share your videos because I always walk away learning something valuable. Thanks. I love that, Patty. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It really comes down to that, you know. When I was, I sell my artwork. I sell a lot of artwork on eBay, and I don't mean this to brag. I mean this in a how would you say it? In a clean way. I'm not saying it. I'm saying is I put a lot of effort on eBay. because it's a huge marketplace. Now I'm looking into Amazon because it's way bigger, right? They're huge marketplaces. One of the reasons that I like to do that is because people are there already. You see, I don't have to go look for people somewhere. People are there. One of the reasons I do YouTube, it's because people are already there. If I were to do my videos and just put them on my personal website, no one is in my personal website. No one is on my personal website. So I have to go look. Where are people already looking at stuff? Oh, they're already on YouTube. So you go to YouTube. Facebook is the same thing. People are already there. So let's go. Now, if I lead with my artwork and not really provide a service, I become lost in the noise. There's too much noise happening. Everybody's raising their hand. Everybody's like saying, please look at my artwork. We're not really, of course, saying that, but everybody's just putting up a photo of their artwork and just be like, oh, there you go. You want to buy it? And certainly, sometimes you may sell a painting like that, here and there, a photograph, whatever you do. I don't know what you do, maybe sculpt. Of course, you can sell something like that, here and there. But it's not nearly as close as, it's like the Hare Krishna people, the Hare Krishna, I don't know if it's a religion or a spiritual practice, whatever it is, I don't know. They give you a flower, right? A rose, I think it was. They give you a flower and then they ask for donation. Well, this is a very aggressive, direct way of doing it, right? But it's following that principle. You want to give something first. You always want to give something first. You always want to give something. If you're going to go to a gallery and you're going to tell the gallery owner, please exhibit my artwork, you're asking for something. The gallery owner is going to be like, you crazy? I got bills to pay. I got all this stuff. What are you going to give me? Well, my artwork is great, and on and on and on and on. And the gallery owner is just going to laugh. I mean, he might not do it in your face, but as soon as you leave, because everybody leads with that. My artwork is great and it will sell here, But if you tell the gallery owner, and I mentioned this before, but if you tell the gallery owner, look, I got 10,000 people that, follow me on Instagram, I'm going to tell them all about your gallery and the show, that may ring a bell for him or her. That gallery owner now is going to think, oh, they're going to bring traffic to me. Or let's say that a guitarist, or music, a pianist or something. I don't know. Someone who does something, kind of classical or jazz or whatever the feeling of the gallery is, right? And maybe the gallery is like wild, Southwest wildlife, and you bring someone who knows how to play, country or bluegrass or something, go stick to the movement of the place. And you tell them, I'm going to bring someone, in my show. And they're not going to charge you. And you can tell the person the person that's playing the instrument, whatever I sell, I give you, 30% or 40% or whatever you want to do with them, or I'll give you, I don't know. Now you can work something out with the musician, but now you brought something of value to the gallery. What is that musician going to do? Especially if it's a professional musician, it doesn't have to be famous, just professional. It's going to bring foot traffic to the gallery. The gallery is going to be happy about that. So that's pretty much that, guys. It's really just understanding. I know I started out with viral videos, but just kind of giving you little nuggets to kind of consider and start thinking differently. What you want to do is you want to switch. You want to switch from what can I take to what can I give. Because as the old saying goes, I don't know the old saying, but it's something about honey. Honey attracts more. You want to live with something sweet. You want to give something first. And then that way, doesn't mean people are going to buy. It does not mean that, okay? So that's why a lot of people get confused. It means people are going to listen to you. That's what it means. And if you have a good pitch, if you have great artwork, and you have, all the other components there, now you have a better shot at it. Many people get confused because I tell them this kind of stuff, and people have sent me emails and told me, I lead with this, and then you look at their artwork and they barely started painting, or they never really stuck to it, so they never developed they never learned how to paint, to put it that way. And, in other words, they never learned how to paint. So when they show the paintings to the people don't want to buy, even though they have a great, approach, people don't want to buy the paintings because they just, they don't like them, for whatever reason. And it doesn't mean that I'm not talking about abstraction or none of that, guys. I'm just saying, like, there are bad abstract painters. There just are. I'm just saying it, and a lot of people think that, if I do abstract, somehow I'm going to, camouflage, how bad I paint it. You won't be able to hide it. You have to practice. So that's another aspect. I'm just I'm just sharing this, guys, because I used to think that, like, when I was younger, I used to be like, oh man, all I have to do is just paint some abstract work. And no, it doesn't happen that way either. It doesn't work that way. You have to get good at whatever you're doing, whether it's abstract, whether it's, Southwest stuff, whether it's realism, it doesn't matter what it is. The stuff that I do, this post-impressionistic type of stuff, you have to practice it, for the other elements to work. Otherwise, they're not going to work, or it's going to be much harder. Maybe they will work. I don't know. Who am I to say that? But it's going to be much harder. So there you guys have it. I hope you guys enjoy this awesome day and this video. If you love it, please share it. If you don't think you got any content, any value out of this, then don't share it. I don't want you to share it if you don't feel like you got any valuable content. But if you think that this is worth sharing, please share it and let other people know about it. I know there's more than one artist out there who may benefit from this. This kind of stuff. So I'll leave you guys with that. The name is Jose Trujillo. I am the world's greatest living artist, guys. Just needed to remind you that and remind myself, because I need to remind myself daily. Take care, guys, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.